So today I want to share with you 10 things that I've learned from quitting my job. I've actually quit my job on 5 separate occasions over the course of my working career. And although I don't consider myself an expert on this topic, I have learned quite a few things which I think will be valuable to share, and that's the purpose of this video today. So if you're interested in finding out what those 10 things are, then keep watching. So just a quick side note before we get into the video, the purpose of this video is not to encourage anyone to quit their job by any means. I think that everyone's journey throughout life is very different, and if you get to a point where you're considering quitting your job, then you really need to make that decision based on your own reasons and what the best decision for you is at that time and at that point in your life. I simply wanted to film this video to share some insights from my perspective and from my own personal experiences. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So number 1 is to trust your instincts. If you have a voice in the back of your head that is telling you it's time to move on from the job that you're in, then I'm just going to be very blunt here. It's probably time to move on. I've learned over time that our instincts are kind of like that sixth sense. You can call it your intuition, a gut feeling, but basically it's that small voice that usually tells us pretty much what we should and shouldn't be doing. The problem is when our instincts first whisper that first initial thought in our head, then the logic left brain kicks in and it creates all these reasons to kick the instincts, the intuition, the gut feeling out the door. But if you're actually asking yourself the question of should you leave your job, then I think that deep down inside you actually know the answer, but you're probably just looking for some external validation or confirmation because it's going against everything that your logic left brain is telling you. Number 2 is don't let other people's fears, doubts and opinions drive your decisions. If I had listened to people that had given me the advice of staying in a certain job for 10 plus years because it was the safe and sensible thing to do, I would have really missed out on a lot of experiences that I've had in life, which came as a result of me trusting my gut instinct and moving on when I really felt the time was right for me. And one example of that is the fact that I'm actually sitting here filming this video today. If I hadn't have left my job earlier this year to chase my dreams and pursue my goals of building my online business, then I can tell you 100% that I would not be sitting here today filming this video to share with you guys. I would be sitting at a desk in an office, really counting down the hours till the end of the day before a long commute ahead of me of 45 minutes before getting home exhausted, only to start all over again the next day. The fact that I'm actually sitting here filming a YouTube video still feels very surreal to me. And again, if I hadn't have made that leap, I never would have started this YouTube channel, let alone be putting videos on there to be open to the public to see. So it really just goes to show that, again, it comes back to trusting your instincts and really stay true to yourself and listen to your inner voice, and it'll really guide you in the right direction. Now, if you make the decision to leave your job, make sure you have the financial resources to do so. And guys, I'm going to be very honest here. This is a very important part of the equation. I would definitely recommend, if you're thinking of quitting your job, that you have some kind of savings behind you or some investments that you can access and convert into cash. You also need to have done some kind of budget so you know exactly how long that money will last you, and you know how long you'll have to live off that money before you run out. Let's hope that that doesn't happen, and you might have to go back to doing something that you don't really enjoy. It's a good idea to include a buffer as well, if it's possible, in case anything unexpected pops up along the way. Number 4 is to have a plan. Speaking from experience, I think it's really important to know what your next 2 or 3 moves will be before you quit your job. As I mentioned earlier, I quit my job earlier this year to pursue my dreams of building my online business. But before I did that, a whole year before I did that actually, I was putting my plans into place in terms of re-educating, learning new skills, learning how to design websites, learning different social media platforms. And probably the most difficult and challenging part was to change my own mindset. and really developing confidence in myself and having the belief that this was something that I could actually do. It definitely wasn't a decision that I made overnight or one that I took lightly, but it's not a decision that I regret making at all. Number 5 is to have a backup plan. Now, this is sort of a contingency to put in place in case any of those what ifs happen. Some of the things that I needed to consider before I left my job and really put my full-time effort into my online business was, what if it doesn't work out? What if I run out of money? What if I accumulate a whole lot of debt and my business fails? Now, I'm not saying any of these things to scare you, but for me, they were very realistic possibilities that could happen 6-12 months down the track. So by having a contingency or at least some sort of strategy in place, it really took a lot of the pressure off and it made the whole process of decision making a lot easier. Number 6 is knowing that you can always go back. So when I was considering leaving my job, someone said to me, "You know how to make money." And when I thought about this, it's actually very true. If you're in any kind of paid employment now, then you've clearly demonstrated that you have skills and experience that people are willing to pay you money for. So if you leave your job, that fact isn't going to change. It's only if the economy is in a really bad state or you're leaving a job that might be being taken over by artificial intelligence or something like that. But generally, you can use your existing skills at the end of the day to go back to some kind of job if for whatever reason things don't work out once you leave. Number 7 is be prepared to live like a student again. Yes, that's right. That means cutting back on all those little luxuries that you've been able to afford once your salary starts increasing year after year. I mean, I even swapped my $10 paleo mix for a $3 box of cereal. But when you actually sit down and add all those small expenses up, it actually really tallies up to a large amount at the end of the week and at the end of the month. And it can make a massive difference on making your budget last you a lot longer. You'll have to really cut back on all those kinds of things. Number 8 is to be ready to say no to your friends and pretty much kiss your social life goodbye. So even though you've left your job and you don't have a regular income, life for everyone else still goes on. And those people that you used to spend all that time with, they still want to see you, they still want to catch up, they still want to go out for lunches or dinners. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm forever grateful to have so many great people in my life that actually do want to spend time with me. So I noticed myself having to not cut off, but really cut back on the amount of time that I was spending with these people. You know, I think that your true friends will really understand it's part of the process of what you're doing and where you are in life, and that when you become a bit more financially independent from whatever it is that you're doing, then you'll be able to sort of get back into that regular routine of catching up and spending a lot more time with them. Number 9 is always remember your why. Remember why you decided to leave in the first place. You know, being under financial pressure can be really tough at times, and sometimes it seems even worse when you've intentionally put yourself in that position. But whether you left your job to start a business, go traveling, or do some soul searching, when times get tough, and most likely they will, always come back to your why you left. What dream were you following, and what vision or purpose did you see for yourself? So number 10, and the final thing that I learned, is that nothing is permanent. And this is one thing that I really had to remind myself during the course of my own journey. I think a lot of the time we treat leaving the security of a well-paying full-time job as a massive risk. And once we leave, that there's no turning back. But at the end of the day, if what you're pursuing doesn't work out or you've experienced some hiccups along the way, then there's nothing stopping you from returning to full-time or even part-time work. And you'd actually be surprised to know how many people have actually needed to take a step back in order to take a few more steps forward. So I hope that this video has been helpful, and if you found it useful, please give it a like. If you've had your own experiences of quitting your job, let me know what you've learned in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of when I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.